I finally made it out here to Texas Pay Digs with my good friend Chad Thomas. You've probably seen him on the hit show Yellowstone. He is actually Rip's stand-in. He walks lines. He does a bunch of crazy stuff. So we're going to be looking for some ancient stone points from the woodland period, archaic, all the way down to paleo. And one of the reasons why is I was explaining to Chad that the easiest way for me to become the student is to learn from the ancients. Chad, longtime friend.
What's up?
He's out here in Texas, got his cowboy
yeah.
hair. Looking good, man. All right. So we were walking about, what, 10 seconds?
Not even.
And I already found that guy right there, sitting right on the ground.
He did. Right away. Can't believe it.
Give us some of the history about this area.
So
what
we're
was
a
the
few miles
significance?
from the Galt site here in Central Texas. This was a major camp, this whole property that I'm on. And since the early 50s, they've been collecting points and hand digging and things like that out here. And I've luckily I'm a part of it now and turned it into Texas Pay Digs. People have been digging out here for years, but now I'm running it, taking it over, trying to respect the land, respect the people that live here.
So that's the key thing about this, is that this was a historical site where people came together to trade, to do ceremonies, to do any number of things. You're going to find a large footprint of projectile points, clay pottery, bone shards, campfires, you name it, we're going to come across it. So when I was going through my flintknapping process, I really studied a lot of ancient stone tools. The majority of them were in books and online. But anytime I get the chance to actually hold one of those ancient stone points in my hands and see the flaking, identifying the tools that they've used, it gives me a deeper and, more importantly, a better understanding on how I can knap my stone tools today. So since Chad and I have a friendship, he's got some land, I've got the knowledge to actually knap these points. We're gonna dive into a little history, dig up some points so I can take an opportunity to study them, really get my understanding on how they flake, the materials that were used, the different billets and hammerstones that were used, the pressure flaking techniques, pretty much everything and anything that I can pull from those stone tools, understanding how they were made, is really going to help my knapping going forward. Even though I've been knapping for many years, it's still important to take some time, one, to respect the ancients, two, take an opportunity to learn from them. I'm gonna have Chad out here. Marissa's gonna be joining me kind of in the afternoons and in the evenings and some mornings, where we're gonna see what we can dig up, see what I can learn, and have a great time digging in the past. High hilltops, you can kind of see why all of this area was once an ancient gathering place, where many different tribes throughout history will come together, meet up, trade, do ceremonies, celebrate maybe births or different cycles of the planet, but it was a place for people to come together. Now, why we know that to be true is that several archaeologists have been out to this site and they've surveyed it. And a lot of the material culture that's been found out here is found all throughout Texas. So there's nothing really new. There's nothing that hasn't been discovered. If there is, obviously those archaeologists would be contacted and a thorough kind of investigation into that material culture would be kind of looked at. But a lot of the stuff here is very common. But in this entire process, we're gonna be using some sifting tables, we're gonna be doing some hand digging, some surface collecting to really kind of see what we can discover. And according to Chad, we're not gonna have any issues finding all sorts of unique stone points, stone tools, bone tools, and just about anything else you can think of. All right, let's get into it. And just a rock, a jar. A lot of hand sifting on the tables. Hopefully we come up with some nice points. Key thing for me is really just taking a look at these points and get an opportunity to kind of study them. There's a little flake right there. You know, by studying them, understanding the break patterns, broken dirt. Just kind of work this through the bottom. Hand sifting. Not bad. More shells. And a flake. All right, I'm gonna turn this off, save some battery. If I find something, I'll let you know. Saw something that looks pretty promising. Where was it? Right there. Woo-hoo-wee. Nice little bird. Look at that. Man, that is a beauty. Well, that's not out of Georgetown either. Something different. But that right there is what we're looking for. I'm telling you, the tables I like these little sifting tables. Scoop of dirt, and you just start looking. Awesome. Almost looks like a really dark root beer or a piece of jasper or something, but I was expecting most of these points to be made out of Georgetown because that's what's around here. I dig it. Let's keep going. And I need new gloves. Whoop, 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 whoop. Little flake just slid out. Another little flake. A lot of these flakes that I'm pulling are all thinning flakes. They're real thin. And even that bulb of percussion is just real small to see, but it lets you know that they were using very, very likely, almost without a shadow of a doubt, some form of billet, antler billet, a very light billet to pull these thin little thinning flakes off. All of that removed by a napper. So right there's a little piece of bone. Yeah, absolutely. Little bone, little flake. I usually don't, do this. Most of the stuff I come across is just surface finds, but oh, there's a little something right there. Let's see. No. Just a removal flake. When you look at it, you can see that right there. Let's find it. That's my bulb of percussion right there. This is my ventral side, nice and smooth. My dorsal side has all those pre-existing flake scars. So this is my proximal end where that bulb is. And this right here is my distal end. Absolutely a removal flake from some napper a couple thousand years ago, sitting in this area making stone tools. A lot of those little ting ting tings, that's stone flakes just kind of hitting this metal. There it is right there. But it's kind of a good little indicator. I listen for it. There's another chunk of stone. Flake. Oh shit. Just flick that little piece. Look at that. Some sort of break. That's definitely a base of some sort of knife blade or a large projectile, but yeah, you can see the concavity. That's definitely a midpoint break. Tip probably extended out to here. The base is worked. Lots of flake scars on it. That is a broken piece. Not bad. Let's see if we can find a tip. There's your other half. Here's your better half. Super tiny flakes, little thinning flakes. There's a ton of them. It's like my workshop floor. Like I said at the beginning of this video, one reason I like to dig like this every once in a while is to study these flakes. And as I'm looking at them, a lot of these are super thin and they're coming from a soft billet, something like an antler. Some of these could be long flakes and pressure flaking, a little bit longer and thinner, but most of the flakes that are this size, these are all coming from soft billet strikes, reducing them down, getting them nice and thin. That looks like something that was being worked. There are flake scars on all sides. Maybe they were working it and then they decided to leave her right there. Yeah, that's definitely been worked. I wouldn't classify it as a scraper. I wouldn't really classify it as anything, but just something that was being worked. Could it have been used for scraping? Absolutely. That is more applicable for scraping a hide. For those that have ever scraped a hide with stone, this is about as small as you want to go. This thumb scraper idea, just get yourself a thumb scraper and scrape a hide and see what size stone you'll wind up going up to actually scrape it. Wouldn't classify as that. I think it's just being worked and a leverite there. All right, table one is done. These are kind of the finds that we came across. Lots of flakes, a couple different colors, variations. Some of those root beer church. Most of this is Georgetown. A little bit of bone. These were the three things that came out of this pile. It's got flake scars on both sides. Yeah, that's something. Couldn't really identify what it is. This broken base right here, obviously it's been worked there. Pressure flaking, that has a broken base, and you can tell by that midsection where you got that concavity. And then this sweet little Pedernales style. Still sharp, a little wear on the tip. Kind of a different material, but yeah, definitely a hunting point. Those three right there. With some flakes and those bones, not a bad haul. Piece of bone right off the bat. Another flake. I'm just sitting right there. What's that? Another flake. Big flake. Every time the dirt slides down, my eyes flip up here. I just want to see a little cool corner tang or something sticking out. That'd be pretty awesome. Up right here. That right there. Clearly a work base. There's a little flake there. Let's see what it is. Oh, nice. Some sort of little atlatl dart point. Not bad. You know what? Just by looking at this right here, see this long flake that's coming down? There was a tip on there. This was thrown and it threw a flute, reverse flute right from that tip and created that. Yeah, absolutely. I've replicated this exact same thing on bison experiments. Throwing an atlatl dart, it was probably out to about right here, at a bison, hit a bone, and it acts just like creating that little nipple when you're fluting a clovis, and it created a flute the whole way down. And even looking at that tip, you can see that little shear, so it popped it off. Whoop, terminated right there. That was actually a thrown projectile point. That's awesome. Good find. Table number 2. I think it's cool to find the points, but to know how those impacts took place, you know when the napper broke a point or tossed it over his shoulder because he was having problems with it. That's really what you learn from this entire process. You're almost replicating the exact same thing. That's kind of the beauty of napping today. You have a lot of examples to go from, not just the points themselves, but the problems they ran into, the impacts they had, the breaks that took place when they threw it. It's all pretty amazing. This is about learning. Right there. That's a little broken tip. Absolutely. Convexity, clearly defined tip. That was broken. That was a point of something. Not bad. Just saw that when I was washing dirt over the screen. Maybe I gotta pay a little bit closer attention. Get some bone. So table 2 finds, lots of flakes across the board, various sizes, thinning flakes, reduction flakes. They're there. A couple different freshwater clams, lots of snails. Snails are kind of everywhere. Some bone, broken bone, shards of bone, but these were really the 2 finds right here. This little projectile point with the tip break that caused that flute, and then a break of another tip. All right, let's go do another table. Table 3. Camera's gonna follow. Oh, what is this? Heck yeah. Sweet. Little blade. Just pulling dirt down. Kind of pulling it, screening it. Out comes that guy. Maybe like some sort of knife. It's kind of offset as far as it's not symmetrical, but could have been hafted as a blade. It's got some thickness to it, but you know, longevity of knives is important. But oh, that's a sweet little find. Heck yeah, I like that. I'm gonna go with a little knife blade. Definitely something that might be hafted. Very cool. Whew. All right, that's good. Another good table. I think I've had anything. Well, the last one had some broken stuff, but that looks complete. Come on, I want something sticking out right in here. That was cool, that last one. That little base caught my eye. Shell. That's a nice little knife. Oh, look at that right there. That is why I break open some of these pieces, because this guy right here is a big flake, but that was removed. That's just a monster flake right there. That's pretty cool. I think I broke it. Let me see if I can find that other piece. Maybe I did. I mean, that looks like a new break. See how clean that is? That's a new break. Let's see the other piece. I'm gonna set this off to the side, but yeah, I thought it was a point at first. That's just a big flake. That is a big flake. That could have been worked. We'll see what we can come up with. Set it off to the side. Hopefully I find the other piece. Wood. Right up front, I made plenty of flakes. You keep seeing me collect them. They're everywhere. No issues with the flakes. Some shells, a little bit of bone. We're gonna keep finding that. This big flake here that I think was broken when the skid steer is being used, but that's definitely a new break. When you compare the dirt, all this stuff that's sitting on top of it, that's a break. I couldn't find the other piece. Still might be in the hole, but this right here was the find of table 3. Cool little knife blade. We'll see if we can date it, get some specifics, but yeah, not bad. Success. 3 for 3 so far. Table 4. Saw something. Just a flake. Fooled me. Flakes down here. No broken points, no complete points. This might be our first table That's a no-go. It happens. Plenty of flakes, but not like the other tables. I mean, I showed you a handful compared to some of the ones. I mean, I think it was table 1 and 2 and even 3 was just littered with flakes. I got some here, but nothing too crazy. I don't know. Might have been a different layer of dirt. Just like all the other tables, everything's said and done. Handful of flakes, some shells, some snail shells. That's kind of universal, but no projectiles, no broken pieces, nothing on this table 4. 5. There's a flake. That big flake just came off. That's a big boy, not bad. Oh yeah, right there. That's what I'm talking about. One little purd, broken tip, broken on the edge, broken right at the very bottom, but that right there. I was thinking we were gonna get skunked 2 of the tables in a row, but oh nice, that's a keeper. I'll put that on that flake. See if we can find something else. All right, when everything is said and done for this, a little bit of bone, nothing crazy. Some flakes, lots of flakes, standard sort of flakes. These are all indicative of great Georgetown projectiles. This big flake right here is definitely a monster flake, probably used with a hammerstone. And the creme de la creme on the last table is this broken little purd right here. Not too bad. I'm glad we got something. But when everything's said and done, that right there is what I would work into that guy right there. All right, tables are done. These seem to be the shining stars of the group. Not bad. Those clean up pretty good. A couple different materials. Not bad. I'm quite pleased. This is probably my favorite one right here. Unique material, and probably that knife here. And then this guy, because it's definitely a impact break. That right there, that's the money maker. That's the one I like the best. So Missy is out here with me right now. We've got about an hour and 45 minutes before the lights go. We've got 1, 2, 3. She's on table 4. We got table 5. We'll see what we can come up with on these 5 tables at Texas Pay Digs. And then we're gonna go grab a beer. So we might get some of this with some headlights and possibly some headlamps. Here's something really cool. This is some sort of leg bone, probably from a deer. But this break looks like it was broken open to get that marrow extracted. Similar breaks that we've done in the bison experiment to eat that marrow, but it's pretty cool to find something like this while digging. What's that? That's cool. Looks like a big kind of bifacial. There's flaking on both sides, but could be kind of a bifacial preform that they were maybe working, so that's kind of cool. Put that in the pocket. If one side was smooth, I'd definitely say it was a removal flake, but since both sides are kind of worked, that means it was being worked on both sides in a bifacial way. Flakes removed off one side, flakes removed off another. Most of the stone points that we find, well, Missy typically finds them. I walk over them. As many as I've made, she's got an eagle eye for them. First point I found today was on the surface. It's kind of just what we've grown accustomed to doing, is looking on the surface. More bone. So it's cool finding bone. Marissa has one. What are we looking at? So we see the blade. Ooh, nice. That is beauty. Was it fully nice and thin? Yeah, little chunks taken off. Is that old break? Yeah, old. That's nice. That's a good looking point. She shows up for 15. She's 2 for 2. Nice. Heck yeah. It's a good little tip. Broken. That's nice though.
Nice.
Heck yeah. Dang, that's a little thin one. Look at that.
Not see through, but it's a good one.
I'm gonna keep digging. If I find something, I'll tune you back in. We'll discover it together. All right, day one is coming to an end. We dug until it was dark using headlamps. Couldn't find anything. We'll do tomorrow. Bruce and I are out here early digging in the pit. We're gonna kind of work this wall right through here. We got a layer of snails, some clams, and a lot of ash. And that's a good indicator that there could be material culture above as well as below that line. So with these layers, you can kind of see different sort of rocks that have been used in campfires that have been heated and they've broken. We've got lots of snails. We've got this kind of mycelium that grows through that snails. Kind of everything underneath this line, you can even see there's a little piece of chert right here. It's kind of gonna be that transition from paleo down here to archaic to woodland kind of up in this area. So we're using this line as our indicator on where we're gonna dig. You can even see that yellow deposit right there. This is a continuation of that line and it carries all the way through to your right and to your left. So we're gonna be focused on this underside right through here, underneath that snail, that mycelium, and all of that kind of stone that's been used in campfires that is ultimately broken. Color is kind of changed and it's kind of real fragile. And it breaks. It's all kind of heat treated sandstone and limestone. Yeah. You kind of see a fire line, ash line, and it's kind of where the mycelium is kind of grown through things. And as we were digging, I found this little guy. Let's see. Look at that. Oh my God. That is money. That's beautiful. Score. That's nice. That's what we're looking at here. Texas paid eggs. You can't beat that. This ash. So we just finished our first table and found this little broken point right here. But yeah, well on our way, moving to the next one. So I was just clearing some dirt. It kind of rolled off of this, but this looks to be something pretty interesting. Oh, it's just busted. Laying in there just like this. I thought it was bigger than it was, but whew, old break. Just, I mean, oh man. Well, that's good though. That's good. Nice. Beauty. That's a stunner right there. Good score. Right there. Woo.
Oh, missing tip.
Still. Not bad though, still. It's a good sign. One on the layer.
Oh, half heard.
Let's see. Not bad.
Nice artifact.
Yeah.
She got all fired on the phone.
Woo! Here we go.
Huh?
Busted, but
Oh, there's gonna pull video. Oh! God, look at that.
This would have been a smoker.
Buddy, oh my gosh.
all right, so with everything said and done, after 3 days of digging here at the Texas Paid Digs, between myself, Marissa, and Chad, we came up with a whole variety of points. So we got some nice Montels, we got some perforators, we got a whole variety of points here. I think my biggest takeaway from this is, as I'm looking at these, the thinness on some of these points is pretty amazing, especially with the stone and bone sort of method of, but they can still generate that thinness. And I think this is a testament on the craftsmanship of those ancient knappers using the tools that nature's provided. That's kind of how I base all of my flint knapping off of, is really focusing on what nature would provide and creating the thinnest and the most beautiful really tools that you can come up with to hunt, to scrape, to score. This is what we've been using for, you know, hundreds and thousands and millions of years. I really like some of these big bases. These are indicative of kind of larger projectiles, hand tools, several broken tips in here. All of these are just indicative of them being thrown or them breaking in that knapping process. A couple interesting things that I found out while looking at some of these points. This guy right here, this guy right here. When we look closely at this little fishtail on the end of this guy and this fishtail here, there's 2 little grooves taken out. And now I don't know if that is something that is specific to the maker, but it could be a little kind of you know, trademark, a little copyright symbol. It's very unique. It looks like one little pressure flake has been taken off there and one there as well. I'm not going to take a lot of these back with me. I think I've collected most of the information that I wanted to see. Variety of materials here. Most of it though is that Georgetown chert, but I see something that kind of reminds me of like a jasper or even a dark root beer sort of material. But I would say about 90% of these are Georgetown. It kind of reminds me of a little bit of an evacuate, maybe that was traded. You know, this nice little knife blade here, this is probably one of my favorite ones. I like making those stone knives. But across the board, all of these guys are absolutely stunning in their craftsmanship, their thinness, their functionality. I'm gonna take probably a moment or two to kind of study these, make some notes in my notebook about their overall knapping, the thinness, the thickness, some of their flake scars, some of the same things that I replicate in my own points, being able to replicate these guys. It's just awesome. What an opportunity. Thank you very much, Texas Paid Digs, my good buddy Chad. Be sure to check it out. I'll put in the description below all the information for you to get a hold of Texas Paid Digs so you can come out here and dig with your family. Learn a little bit about the history of this area, the significance of the peoples that have walked through this area for thousands and thousands of years. You can follow Texas Paid Digs on all social media, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. Put all that information in the description. Be sure to check it out. Chad's a great guy. The land's absolutely amazing to be on. Felt very fortunate to be here. All right, that's all I got. Appreciate you watching.